Let us now settle into a spirit of worship, the moment of quiet, to be followed by the music of First Snowfall by Douglas Hammer, played by our pianist and organist and music director, Matthew Johnson. You are also invited this time to light a silent candle of joy or sorrow. Our chalice lighting this morning are the words of the Tibetan Buddhist community. May we be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you awaken to the light of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for all beings. Do you need the words? No, you do need that. Oh, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Worcester, a congregation of love, hope, and justice, inspiring people to take on the challenges of a changing world. My name is Anna Gregory, and I'm one of your worship associates this morning. We begin by acknowledging that in Worcester, Massachusetts, we work, learn, live, and worship on the seized ancestral homeland of the Nipmuc people, who survive and remain active as the Nipmuc Nation. We offer a special welcome to those of you who are new or visiting us for the first time this morning. We are delighted that you are here. We hope that you will join us in Fellowship Hall following the service for refreshments, conversation, and raffle baskets that you can buy tickets. If you have questions or desire more information about this service or any of the ministries and programs of this congregation, please do not hesitate to ask. We invite you to fill out one of the cards found in the pews. These cards can be placed in the offering plate or given to one of the ushers or greeters this morning. For those of you joining us online this morning, we offer you a very special welcome for safety purposes and so that we might come to know you better. As you are able, please place your name on your video feed. Please take a moment to sign one of the attendance clipboards that are now being circulated. Thank you. Though you're not obligated to sign, we appreciate your information and will use it for church purposes only. During the service, we offer an opportunity to share brief personal joy or sorrow. If you would like yours to be read aloud by the minister, please print it on an index card in the pew and drop it in the collection plate. These cards will also be posted outside the minister's office. For those online, you can place a joy or sorrow in the chat and we will read or share it during this time of the service. In the foyer are listening devices and large print service programs and hymnals for those who may find their assistance beneficial. Please see one of our ushers who will be pleased to assist you. I invite you now to turn your technology to worship mode. And finally, please note the announcements on the back of your order of service. There will be time for brief verbal announcements following the postlude. We are so glad that you are here today and hope that this morning is an opportunity for rest, reflection, and rejuvenation. And now I'm putting my fundraiser hat back on. As you know, the hat's name is Kashi. So I have great news about the craft fair that took place yesterday. We made a total of, so far, $2,900. And there will be more raffle tickets for sale after the service. You will see all the raffle baskets. There are 30 items that you can buy a raffle ticket for and see if you'll win. So I'll be there selling the tickets. They're 1 ticket for $1 or 6 tickets for $5. And most importantly, the auction is open. So I'm so happy. So far we have $2,250 raised. People are bidding and things are going fast. So I encourage everyone to bid frequently and at a high price. And it looks like Aaron's bread making 3 loaves has already, people ate that up at over the opening price, like over the offering price. So I'm thinking we're going to ask him for maybe another 10. The bread goes crazy, and we have so many other things. So just to thank people for the craft fair, Dee Hudson, Vicki Cox-Lanyon, Melissa McKeon, Jessie Trowbridge and her girls, Beth Posner-Waldron, Kirsty Erickson, many others probably I didn't get. I was there yesterday. But I also want to thank Robin, who I don't think is here. No. Robin did an amazing job, and over and above what anyone can ask from one person. I think that she's a powerhouse and she did great. So I want to give her a round of applause, even though she's not here. Thank you. So the auction is up until the 15th, so everyone can bid, and we'll see how much we make, and I'll be here next week. Thank you.
I'm going to usurp this mic for a public service announcement. Good morning. As many of you do know, Reverend Aaron Payson will take a sabbatical from just after Christmas until mid-April. Sabbatical is a vital time of reflection and rejuvenation for our minister. In his 25-year tenure with this congregation, he has taken other sabbaticals, the last of which was cut short by a pandemic. And from those experiences, we know that he's going to return to us with a lot to share. To continue the work of this community during his absence from the pulpit, a sabbatical task force was formed months ago. The schedule of guest speakers and ministers and lay leaders for our Sunday morning services was finalized a couple weeks ago, and the task force is completing plans to fill the many other gaps left by his absence. UUCW emails and website postings will continue to announce the topics and the speakers and all other activities in the congregation. In the coming weeks, we will share these details with you to be sure you know just what to expect and who to contact in Aaron's absence. I want you all to know who the sabbatical task force is, and I will ask them to stand if they're present today. We have Reverend Aaron Payson. Many on the task force are representative of a committee or a work in the congregation, and so those links are crucial to us casting the net as broadly as needed to cover everything. So we have Matt Bajoun of the Committee on Right Relations, Maya Desai of the Connections team, Christina Heffernan of the Buildings and Grounds Oversight, Kathy McDonough of the Pastoral Care team, Melissa McEwen, Board President, David Fields is a member at large and not present with us today, and I am the Sabbatical Task Force Chair. Today's opening words are by Shantideva, who was an 8th century Indian Buddhist monk who left us with many prayers. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector of those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, a bridge for those with rivers ahead, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without light, a place of refuge for those who lack shelter, and a servant to all in need for as long as space endures and for as long as human beings remain. Until then, may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world.
Would you please join together in our opening hymn found in your teal hymnal supplements, number 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness. Please rise in body or in spirit. With loving kindness, may I be well, may I be filled with loving kindness, may I be well. Please be seated. I want to call forth our basket bearers, members of our religious exploration program who each Sunday gather change in service to the church's emergency fund. So if you have change that you'd like to contribute this morning, please raise your hand, and one of our basket bearers will find you quickly. Up front here, Bruce. And then you can bring your baskets to me. We're going to send you off for a wonderful morning. Spend time with each other. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Thank you. I'd like to invite Rachel Keogh to come forward at this time. It's not in your order of service, and it's my fault. I've been thinking all week long it was December 15th, and it is December 8th, the second Sunday of the month, in which we always enjoy an eighth principle moment. So thank you very kindly, Rachel.
Good morning. Hi, my name is Rachel Keogh, and I am a member of the Eighth Principle Task Force. UUCW's Eighth Principle Task Force aims to educate and inspire our community to incorporate anti-racist and anti-oppressive commitments as part of our faith. The Eighth Principle Moment is a monthly opportunity to think more deeply about how racism and oppression manifests in our everyday lives and continue to hold such issues in the forefront of our hearts and minds. If you have an experience you would like to share as the Eighth Principle Moment, please email us at eighthprinciple@uucw.org. As some of you know, I am a first-generation Haitian American. Both my parents were born in Haiti. My mother, Semoun de Jérémie, which is Creole for She's the People of Jérémie, which is a town on the western edge of Haiti's southern peninsula. My father, Semoun de Port-au-Prince, which is the capital of Haiti, located on the western coast of the island. My parents often told me and my two siblings that they emigrated to the US for better opportunities for their children. My father emigrated first, following his older brother, my Uncle Emmanuel, who we refer to as Tonton Ba. They first arrived to find places to live and work in New York before asking their spouses and children to follow and meet them there. My mother arrived in New York at the age of 29 with my sister, who was only 3 years old at the time. My Aunt Marie, who we refer to as Tante Marie, the wife of Tonton Ba, arrived in New York with their 5 children. By 1967, both families started to build their lives in the US for many years to come. Though my father and uncle were lawyers in Haiti, their Haitian law degrees were not valid here in the US, and therefore they had to seek other jobs to survive. My parents, my uncle, and my aunt all worked hard through their lives, holding 2 or even 3 jobs to cover monthly expenses. Even through all that struggle, our house was always filled with happy moments, surrounded by gatherings of family and friends around large tables filled with lots of food, none of which included our pets. My fondest My fondest memories growing up are moments we spent every Sunday around my uncle and aunt's dinner table in Fort Lee, New Jersey. The scent of my uncle's sweet cinnamon homemade bread or his spicy Haitian chili over rice filled the air. The Haitian compa music playing in the background. Competitive games of dominoes. Toasts made with glasses filled with Barbancourt, Haiti's finest rum. Stories of the good old days in Haiti, and many political debates. Sad to say that most of those adults who sat around that dinner table have all passed away, including my parents, my uncle, and my aunt. Though my uncle and aunt lived in the US for many years, they returned to Haiti to retire in the early 90s. I have only visited Haiti 5 times in my life, one of which was earlier this year in February to attend my Tante Marie's funeral. She was 103. Born September 27, 1920, in central Haiti in a town called Henche. She was an amazing woman who was well-read, loved to travel alone, and continued to do so before she passed away. I could spend hours talking to her on the phone about all sorts of things. I often asked her whether she felt safe in Haiti and why not come back to the US. The answer I always got was that Haiti was her home. I still have cousins in Haiti, struggling to survive with the catastrophic situation happening there. I speak or text with them weekly. They are managing as best they can with the little they have access to. They remain hopeful that the situation will change. It has to get better, right? Thank you.
Merci, Rachel. Merci. I always feel like the sermon has just been given, right? That is something to sit with. A couple of years ago, Tracy Cochran, editorial director of Parabola magazine. How many of you are familiar with Parabola magazine? Anyone? A couple of you? It is an essential go-to for ministers, has been for years, covers all of the essential religious traditions. They're all essential, and gives wonderful, thought-provoking pieces. But anyway, Tracy Cochran wrote an article for publication in which she set out to find the light that guides in a world on fire. I think about Haiti when I hear words like that. She begins the piece reminding her readers of the story of the Buddha's fire sermon, which he preached a few months after attaining what Buddhism calls enlightenment. 1,000 ascetics gathered, those who knew how to perform the daily fire sacrifices. The Buddha told them everything in the world was on fire, including them. Every sensual organ ablaze, and their minds as well. All human faculties burn with craving and aversion or illusion for that which is impermanent. He taught that detachment was a way to peace and freedom, which perhaps isn't a monumental task for ascetics, right, who were happy to escape this life. But Cochran asks, what about the rest of us? She notes that in some Buddhist traditions, it is said that some of those who heard the Buddha gained immediate enlightenment. After all, Who would not be moved by the vision of one so radiant and noble, embodying the very essence of compassion and spiritual freedom? Cochrane notes that these ascetics certainly had an enlightened moment, letting go of painful stories and limiting beliefs to bask in the emanation of a new kind of love and freedom. But down the road, inevitably, there was at least a little more work to do, patterns to see, wounds to heal. Then she cites the oft-noted notion that to gain enlightenment, the Buddha sat under a Bodhi tree for 40 days and 40 nights, which scholars suggest is more figurative than fact. The fact is that he sat for a very, very long time. Remember that 40 is a number many of us have heard before. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights before Noah's ark took to the water. The Israelites wandered in the wilderness for some 40 years. Actually, there are many who speculate that it would have been about a third that amount of time if Moses had given Miriam the map. In other words, spiritual progress and freedom, which is the essence of enlightenment, often takes a very long time to attain. Cochrane turns to the vision of the Buddha under the Bodhi tree and ponders, I'm not aware of anyone ever describing the Buddha as vowing to sit in the forest alone until he awakened as an act of grieving. But grief had to be part of the experience. He had turned his back on his wife and his child and the life that he knew. We can imagine how he felt by drawing on times that we have left places and relationships and jobs, or having been left. He, like us, had to have grieved for bonds that turned out not to be permanent, for certainties that turned out not to be true. His willingness to sit there and know his suffering became a ground of his great insight. We suffer because we cling to things that are burning, changing, passing. But his suffering too passes. The darkness, as the Buddha saw, ultimately gives way to the light of the morning star. The author notes that while the essence of this practice of meditation is detachment, such a concept does not mean turning our backs on life. Instead, Cochrane suggests that the meaning of detachment ought to inspire us in this life instead of staking our happiness on particular outcomes. I want you to remember the words of Shanti Devi. All of these, right? To be a protector for those in protection, not to predict their future. To guide those who have lost their way, not to predict the way. To be a ship for those with oceans to cross, not predicting the destination. A bridge for those with rivers to cross without knowing the other shore. A sanctuary for those in danger without predicting their future. A lamp for those without light without predicting what else is in the darkness. A place of refuge for those who seek shelter, not a permanent residence for those who are looking for home. To be a servant to all in need without predicting the future. She writes, renunciation can mean losing the grip of our attachments, opening the lens of our seeing so that our loved ones and our own lives can unfold in ways that can surprise us. She writes, in real life, I've learned letting go does not mean shutting down or giving up. It can mean vowing to be aware and present, guided not by a fixed goal, but an intention to be compassionate, caring, curious, moment by moment. Some of you have asked how it is that I'm getting along during this very challenging and anxious time. And I have to say, it comes down to this. I can't predict the future. I do not know what's going to happen next. The last time that I went on sabbatical, this is some Old Testament stuff, right? He's elected, there's a plague, and then a few weeks ago I'm hearing about bird flu and I'm thinking, what? But I think this idea of not spending time thinking about a goal and instead concentrating on how I can be in any moment is something for all of us to contemplate. This sparked in me the memory of the Czech poet, playwright, and president Václav Havel, who once talked about the concept of hope, saying, "The kind of hope that I often think about, especially in situations that are particularly hopeless," he says, such as prison, you might say post-election, some of you, "I understand above all as a state of mind, not a state of the world." Either we have hope within us or we don't. It's a dimension of the soul. It's not essentially dependent on some particular observation of the world or estimate of the situation. Hope is not prognostication. It is an orientation of the spirit, an orientation of the heart. It transcends the world that is immediately experienced and is anchored somewhere beyond the horizons. Hope is the deep and powerful sense. It is not the same as joy that things are going well or a willingness to invest in enterprises that are obviously headed for early success, but rather an ability to work for something because it is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. I love that. Willingness to work for something that is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. So detachment, like hope, is a state of the mind based on what we want to happen. It is, in essence, a state of being independent of what is happening in the world at any given moment. It is a state of being in us, not a state of desire about the world. Furthermore, Cochrane notes detachment also means disillusionment, seeing through this endless process of grappling at the pleasures of the five senses and spinning stories of future happiness. But in the Buddhist teaching, disenchantment does not mean the end of magic, as it does in Western rationalism. Waking up from a trance of desire, seeing how we are caught, is the beginning of new possibilities, true aliveness. It's only when we awaken from our dreams of what the world should be like that true love is possible. True love, it turns out, is not romantic attraction, but a capacity and a willingness to be with life as it is. Here for me is the art of love itself. I often sit with couples who are planning to be married. The youngest of them, when asked, "Why do you wish to be married?" respond, "Because I love the other," or "We're in love." Which often suggests to me that they need more privacy than a wedding license. You can take privacy and say a room if you want. Those with a bit more experience in life respond, "Because I am in love in spite of what I know about my partner." Amen? Right? And I'm not suggesting that this is the real crisis in many marriages, and I might suggest that this is the real crisis in most marriages. That moment when we are faced with the reality that the love we feel is based fundamentally on our desire for the other to be something other than they are. Long marriage, I think, requires coming to terms with our own desires for our partner to be different and learning to love them faults and all. I want to be clear. This is not an indictment of failed marriages. There are lots of reasons why relationships do not last, but for those who do, like the Buddha sitting for 40 days and 40 nights or traveling the desert with the Israelites for 40 years, it often takes a very long time to get to the point where we can say, I love you despite your faults and my desires for things to be different. Such an awareness of ourselves and others ought to be the genesis of humility, that we learn to love ourselves and each other in our glorious incompleteness. To be humble, Cochrane reminds us, comes from the Latin humus, meaning the earth, the ground. Harkens back to the old Hebraic notion of that the first beings that were created were of the ground. Literally, the first being created was Adamah, the ground creature, which is where we get the name Adam. But Adam only comes into play after that being of the ground is split in half. And notice, it's not about a half coming from the other. It's not a rib that's out of place. It is two equal halves that find their separateness. And in many other traditions, those halves spend the rest of their life trying to find the other. There is equality in that. But more than that, there is also that sense that only after being separated do we begin the process of truly journeying toward wholeness. Only after we have discovered our attachment through a meditation on detachment do we begin the process of recovering our wholeness. The author notes, our deepest, earliest inner voice is our wordless awareness of being alive here on earth. Sometimes it is accompanied by a feeling of our nothingness. I love this, which does not mean worthlessness, but an awareness that we are not separate or exempt from the way things go here on earth. In other words, nothingness might be the most intimate form of feeling connected. This is perhaps most poignant when we remember that one of the Buddha's most famous gestures was reaching down and touching the ground while meditating, grounding him in an awareness of his and our shared origins and greater life. Of this, Cochrane comments, we can observe this deep truth in our lives. Things change, life flows. When we dare to let go of thinking and trying to control our lives, when we dare to just experience the darkness of the unknown, we discover light of another kind of awareness that is closer to the body and the heart, closer to life. Finally, she turns to our bodies as the penultimate guide to this kind of awareness. She writes, in the midst of the great fire of life, it can be a refuge and a support, meaning our body. Bringing our attention home to the living experience of the present moment grounds us and opens us to greater attention. As silly as it may seem, we may even silently say to ourselves, good body, thank you for being there for me. Think of all of the burning buildings your body has come through, breakups and firings and stress of all kinds. Shut your eyes and register how loyal the body has been to you through it all. Quietly breathing and pumping blood and working away. Sense how eagerly it responds to the gift of your own attention. how it relaxes in the light of your own kind tension. Take it in generously and loyalty of this poor, sweet body, the way it's wordlessly forgives you for not noticing, and how happy it is to meet you when you do. As long as it breathes, she says, the body comes when you call. Even when it's tired or doesn't feel particularly good, it responds to the touch of the attention. Imagine how you would treat an actual animal, a dog, even though they're not on the plate, right? Think about your pets, right? How would you treat a dog that was this good and loyal? Or a cat, although loyalty in cats, I don't know. You wouldn't dream of criticizing its hair or pointing out that it could stand to lose a few pounds, although my cat really could. You would express simple love and gratitude. You would be attentive and kind and bring fresh water, taking it out to play from time to time. I conclude with these words on this Bodhi Day, the day that Buddhists celebrate the Buddha's enlightenment. Everything in this world is on fire, including our own lives. The author says there will be changes and losses and devastations, and yet in the midst of it, we learn to loosen the grip of our grasping and dreaming and turn our attention to the body. We can touch the earth of our present moment existence and remember that we are part of a greater wholeness, that we are supported and accompanied by forces and resources beyond the reckoning of the thinking mind. We can touch the truth that even on our worst days, we belong to something greater than our spinning minds. In the midst of the darkness, we see that there is also a light. Amen. And blessed be. I want to invite my friend Augustine Kenja to come forward with folks from the Action for Humanity Foundation and to spend a few minutes telling us something about this important work that is happening in our local community.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Augustine Kanjia, as Reverend has just said. I have an organization called Action for Humanity. The first thing that came to mind when Reverend started the prayer was a statement, a prayer that resonated with me. I will start with that. May you be a source of healing for all people. That touched me a lot. I can now start talking about Action for Humanity. I set this up to help refugees that are around Worcester, and then to help them also where they come from. Because if there is good where they come from, there wouldn't be refugees. The mission for...
Can you go back?
I'm trying to see it. Okay. Oh, good. Action for Humanity Foundation is dedicated to empowering communities by providing essential resources, support, and advocacy to those in need. We strive to create a world we are all individuals have access to opportunities for a better life. This is done through agriculture, through education. Like over here, I have a few refugees that I teach English because they don't speak English. And I also show them areas where they can get assistance from. Some of them have no cars, so I come here most of the time to get food for them. Our mission is to inspire collective action and foster compassion, resilience, and hope for all people, regardless of their background or circumstance. The vision is not too different from the mission. It's to create compassionate and equitable world where every individual could live with dignity, access essential services, and thrive in healthy, supportive communities. We envision a future where sustainable solutions to poverty, agriculture, inequality, and injustice are realized, and where collective efforts build a foundation of hope. You can see from the picture in Sierra Leone, I set up the same organization that helps the very, very poor people. Those are the ones that actually ran away from war. There was an 11-year-old war in that country where they were maiming people's arms. Now some of them are left there with wives, no husbands, children, no fathers, and some of the mothers are limbless. So I gathered them, I put them together. I started off by taking 40 women to participate in agriculture. I raised some funds here, I sent for them. These are some of the pictures. They sit together, they work, they are happy to work because by themselves, they have no money to say, let's buy food and do some agriculture. So they remain really, really poor. When you talk about poverty, not even $1 to say $1, somebody lives on $1. Over there, they live on nothing. Just by the help of God, that somebody will say, oh, come to my farm, come and do this, and then they get something. As I was talking about the war in Sierra Leone, you can see the devastation. This is just a little bit of it. I didn't want to put graphic pictures, but it's really, really graphic. People were killed, especially in this part of the country. That's where we have the diamonds. The fighting was centered there in the beginning. They centered the fighting there from Liberia. They crossed over to the east, which is the diamond mining area of Kono. And there was a diamond corporation, corporation that was operating there, employed a lot of people around that area and around the country and overseas. They worked there. People, even uneducated ones, had jobs. They had money. They had food from there. They supplied food to them. So when these rebels came and they devastated the place, the people ran away. There is no more company. Those people most of them didn't go to school. I think I was lucky. My grandmother said, you will not go to diamond fields, go to school. I embarked on that. But there are other people who did not go to school, just depended on what the company will give. They enjoy themselves. And when the company is gone, they cannot farm. They cannot go to work because they are uneducated. So they remain really, really poor. They live in this place. And poor governance, successive governments that come, Everybody wants to fill their pockets. They forget about the poorest of the poor. They give them nothing. They do nothing for them. They just live their lives. They don't even know what's going on, because if you have a radio, you will say, oh yes, I will listen. But you can't afford a radio. What are you going to listen to? So the poverty in the area is really, really excessive. At this time, the children are suffering. Some children don't go to school. So my organization has set up like scholarship. The school fees is not expensive, but they can't afford it. They can't get their uniforms. I go around here with my secretary. We are able to get second-hand clothing, shoes. We get them from shops, these flea markets. We gather them, we put them in barrels, we ship them. But to ship them also is money. One barrel, a sizable barrel like this, costs $250 to ship. So we do our best with our other members. We come together, we do our best to do these things, to collect things. Maybe with time I will do shoe drive, because some people over there have no shoes. If you have a spare shoes, you can give it to the organization. It will do a very good job over there. What you think is not good would be number one over there. They say, oh, things from America, very nice. They love them. We also have engagement with education over there, not only over here. Over here, I am trying to solicit for a place where I can have something like a school. I will bring the refugees there, the parents, because the parents fight for the children. I will deal with the parents first, get them place to teach them. Now I do it in my house. I go to some of their houses when I have free time and they have free time. And then over there in Sierra Leone and Liberia, we help the schools, some schools in the devastated areas. We help them. We pay their teachers, some of their teachers, even $100 can work, can pay teachers for, let's say, 2 months. It's very small for them, but it can do something. And we let the teachers get satisfaction by creating summer schools. We create summer schools for them. The teachers will partake, we pay the teachers, the children will enjoy the 2 months. They will be there going to school, going home, they get some food, they enjoy it. Like now, we are planning it for August. We have started the planning for August so that they will get these extra classes for them to be able to educate themselves, to free themselves from the poverty they are in. And they have also teachers, because of the poverty, the teachers will demand money from school children. They will share exam questions. You give me 10 leons, I give you questions. So the education there is going down. This is what we are trying to make a difference with. We put them together. We did survey. We told them what was wrong, and then we are working on it. Talk to the government. The government will step in, and then things will change eventually. We have done a lot of good things. These are some of them. Created scholarship funds, engaged 150 women in agriculture, which they are doing right now. And we have school competitions, which the children will do all the time to improve their English, to improve their thoughts, their their mental faculties. Already you have heard how we help. We come together, we get things, and then we are able to help them. Well, this was going to be a puzzle, but due to time, I will answer the puzzle for you. The structure there is a borehole where water is tapped from and then spread into the community. This was a long time project. We got it. There is no water tap on water there. We got this and then we spread it to part of the town or the village, part of it, and then the school on the side enjoys from it. And this also the competition we had for them, or we have, that was when we were giving them their prizes. Education and healthy competition. This is it. We bring them together, we do it. The boy on the right side there, the man, is the director of the program that is there. He is called Ibrahim Sori Fofana. He is doing very well. He gathers them, and then I send competitions, like topics to talk about. Like this Christmas, they are going to talk about Christ's birth. That is their topic. They are going to do competitions, and then I will send them their prizes. We embark on agriculture. This is agriculture too. It's a video. It's very fertile place, but they cannot do it. You have to spearhead something for them, and then they will do it. This is part of the agriculture we are running. It's very, very fertile. Not only diamonds, plants also grow. Okay, these are the final tips. You can get in touch. You can email the organization. You can call if there is anything you think moved, or you want to be a source of healing for the people out there. Thank you.
I want to thank Augustine for his time with us, and he will be here during fellowship hour. If any of you have questions or want to chat with him about the ongoing projects, we encourage you to do so. On 50/50 Sundays, we remind folks as we take up the offering, if you are paying a pledge, please mark either the check that you're writing or the envelope that you're placing in the offertory basket pledge, so that it can be counted accordingly. All other money that is contributed will be split 50/50 between the congregation and Action for Humanity Foundation this morning as our 50/50 collection. At this time, our morning offering will be received. We come to that time in our service when we're given an opportunity to share what is deepest in our hearts or most profoundly on our minds or in the work of our hands. The days that have transpired or in the prospect of days to come, joys and sorrows that touch us deeply and are given another measure of meaning because of our capacity to share them in the midst of a company that claims us as a co-journeyer. So I invite those of you who have joys or sorrows this morning to come and form lines on either side of the sanctuary, to come and speak briefly into the microphone, telling us first who you are, so that those using our auditory enhancement devices or joining us online can also participate in this important part of our service, and then to light a candle if you so desire. For those of you online, if you have a joy or sorrow that you'd like to share, please do put it in the chat, preceded by the words, "Please read," so that we can find it and include it quickly in this part of the service. The joys and sorrows to be shared this day.
Morning, everyone. My name is Josh. Just wanted to share a joy, a couple of joys. My father turned a healthy 76 on Friday last week, surrounded by his sons and a whole horde of grandchildren. So that was great. And for the safe return of one of my sons from his first international trip to the Turks and Caicos. He went on a cruise with his bubby before his bar mitzvah. So he was pretty excited about that. That was it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Laura. I think I come up here every year on his birthday. Today, is this not on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay. Today, Jeremiah Oliver would have celebrated his 16th birthday today. We're going to go and get him balloons. I don't obviously remember too much. It's been 10 years since his murder. I don't know if many remember, because I mention him all the time. He was the one that was murdered by his mom's boyfriend and thrown in a suitcase and thrown off of 190. And this boy has been stuck with me ever since. So I celebrate his 16th today.
My name is Linda, and I'm very concerned about the health of a friend of mine whom I just can't get in touch with. This particular friend has lupus and several other health issues, and I found out through social media that she had a stroke.
Good morning. My name is Pauline Quishane. I'm the shoebox lady. I was at the shoeboxes this morning, and there were several people there who told me that there were three who told me they had had a lot of fun creating their gifts or finding their gifts, choosing them specifically for that particular child and having fun doing it. So that warms the cockles of my heart. Thank you. And next week is the last drop-off.
Good morning. My name is John Brooks, and I want to share my joy at the fall of Bashar al-Assad in Syria with a couple of caveats, which is that we do not know what happens next. What we do know is that thousands of people have been liberated from prison camps where they have been subjected to God knows what torture over the years, and more will be made public about that in the days and weeks to come. But as I was explaining this to my children yesterday as to what's happening, I was reminded of a couple things. And one is that the Arab Spring started 14 years ago, and though we are kind of conditioned in our culture to think of history as happening in spans of 4 years, it doesn't work that way. And just because we forgot about the Arab Spring doesn't mean that it stopped happening. And I think one of the things that's important to keep in mind is that the reason why Assad fell is because his two chief allies, Russia and Iran, are busy with other things right now. And that dictatorships and autocracies and tyrants tend to forge alliances that are just in the self-interest of the people they forge alliances with. And those alliances do not tend to stand in the face of people who are determined to be liberated and to live free. So as with the rest of the Arab Spring, again, we don't know where Syria is going to go next, and nobody does. And it is a very long road ahead, and that battle will be one that will be fought for years, and if not forever, and that's how these things work. But I think it's an important reminder to us all that history does not exist in spans of 4 years. And that when you have a coalition of people who are determined to be free and to liberate others, those always beat tyrannical regimes. So, good thing to keep in mind for the next few years.
No, still, hang on. Hi. I got to have my very first ever craft fair here today. Or not today, sorry, yesterday. I'm a little confused. My oldest son turns 13 on the 10th. I had him when I was 19. It's kind of a, wow, I have a 13-year-old kind of moment, and I'm sure more than one of you have felt that. I also wanted to share that Robin and I have a table next to all of the wonderfully decorated baskets. So as you're coming down to put your ticket in, stop by. There's also a wonderful, wonderful quilt up for auction. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jessie, and I also have a 13-year-old that I'm very proud of. But this week, AJ identifies as non-binary and gave a presentation to their 8th grade civics class about the importance of gender-affirming care, which I just think requires so much bravery to stand up in front of a class full of 13-year-olds and use the word genitalia, which I even have a hard time saying. So I'm just incredibly proud of them. And there was another student in the class who gave a presentation. The idea was they were all supposed to be giving presentations about issues that they would fight for, that they cared about. And another student gave a presentation about why transgender students should not be allowed to participate on sports teams that don't align with the gender they were assigned at birth. And I think that must be so hard for AJ to listen to as an athlete themselves. But I was so proud of them because they said, you know, I don't agree with her, but she has the right to speak, and I'm glad I have the right to speak. And that's just amazing to me that they had that presence of mind and that maturity to understand that. And the other joy that kind of came out of that for me, and that I think AJ was able to see, was not only do they have the support of all of their teachers and their school administrators and their family and their friends, but there were like 5 other kids who stood up and gave talks about pro-LGBTQ+ rights, and there was a male a peer who gave a presentation about the importance of bringing back Roe v. Wade, and that was just really great to see that, you know, there's many, many voices, and that these kids are just growing up into be amazing people. And I think that this congregation is a really important part of that, at least for my family. So thank you.
Say it with me now. Genitalia. I want us to have a moment of time for meditation and prayer. Here's what I'd like us to do. I'd remembering people whose lives were ended too soon and too violently, too. So we're going to end our service with our musical meditation. And
So we're not going to do the hymn?
not going to do the hymn. We're just going to do the musical meditation after the pastoral prayer, and people will go to coffee hour from there. So, hold in your hearts the words and the beings who have been made present to us because of our capacity to share what is deepest in our hearts with each other. For children that are lost to violence, for generations of people who spend their lives seeking freedom, for the courage that it takes to find one's voice, and the fact that that matters so much for our future as a people. For those who continue to give of themselves in order that others might have happy holidays and who take great joy in doing so. For those who are in need of healing and hope. We pause for this moment of meditation. Once again, beloved worship of this place has come to an end, but our service continues next with fellowship hour, which I believe includes soup today. So, Chris, what is the soup that you have brought?
There's butternut squash vegan soup.
Butternut squash vegan, and I believe Kristen has made tortellini soup. So normally it's $5, but if you have no money, you're going to get soup anyway.
Oh, there's also some turkey soup from yesterday.
And turkey soup from yesterday. So we got enough soup to serve all kinds of people. I hope you all have some of it. Are there quick announcements that need to be made? Very quick.
Christmas Carol sing-along this Wednesday, 6:30, here with Matt doing the music.
Great. Game night on Friday. Excellent. Let's eat.